All right, over to our number one of the last of the night, Bryce Young, Alabama quarterback. Gladys, this is your number one, and me and John's number two. So tell us why he's your number one quarterback.
I understand that if he gets drafted number one, or if he gets drafted in the NFL, he will be the smallest NFL quarterback in the history of the NFL. Someone has to do it. Someone has to be that person, right?
That's a good point.
Bryce Young has shown, like, he's just, when you watch him, it's like masterful, right? He makes all the throws. The pocket pressure doesn't bother him. He can run the ball. I don't see someone who has happy feet. I don't see someone who sees the pressure and thinks, this isn't really good for me. I see someone who sees the pressure and says, I can rise above that. And you got to know, like, he's been the smallest kid for his whole entire life, probably. Like, maybe in not peewee ball or whatever that is. But once he got into high school and college, he's been the smallest kid. And to me, that kind of mentality that you're the smallest, you have to overcome whatever everyone else is saying, is an extra bonus to what he has already accomplished. And he's accomplished so much. I mean, for his career, 80 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, that's ridiculous numbers. Those are ridiculous numbers, and he's putting them up in Bama. He's not putting them up in Shepherd or wherever that other kid was from. He's putting them up in Bama. You know what? I give SEC quality opponents. No disrespect to your boy. I'm sure he's really great. But I understand the size issue, and I understand that one catastrophically big hit could put him out, but it couldn't also, like when Drew Brees came, everyone's like, oh my God, he's too small. Someone has to be that next person, and I think Bryce Young is that guy.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably, this is just a knock on me from just, I go into like historical scouting data sometimes, and I just say, like, the odds of this working out just are very low. Like, everything else about Bryce Young is bulletproof. If he was a 6 foot prospect, if he was 6 foot 210, he's the number one pick probably last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that good. He's completely, we don't have to question his talent. For me, it is purely just the size and getting, hit week in, week out by these guys that are 350 plus piles up when you're 190 pounds. Like, it's just a lot on the body. And so, I don't look at the size and think the two things that a lot of people say is, oh, he can't see over the line, which is stupid. No, that's not size. And two, again, one big hit and he'll be done forever. I don't believe that either. But I do believe he could be one of these guys that maybe misses a week here, maybe misses 2 weeks here, and is constantly just battling injuries. And because it's tough. It's just really hard to play in the NFL week in, week out at that size. And that's the only question I have. Similar. I mean, Tua is not a small guy, but similar to Tua, kind of like, in and out, like he's injured, he's not injured. Like, I could just see a season, a few seasons, or a career like that for Bryce Young at that size. Maybe not. Again, maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe he's going to be the best. But I just think that, processing ability and making the throws and all that is totally great until you're hit 15, 16 times 4 weeks in a row. And you're like, all right, like, I can't, my body just can't keep up with this.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I really do like Bryce Young. Honestly, I feel like he has basically all but two different traits that are all like 8s in terms of a 10. Is just solid product. He's just a solid quarterback. He can make the throws. He has the accuracy. He doesn't have the mobility. Doesn't show the mobility, but like, I mean, sure, he could run once if he needed to. But again, it might not be in his game either. Just like CJ Stroud, this might not be him running. Might not be in his game. He's a quarterback that can throw the ball very accurately and make all the throws, but in the long run, does he get injured? Does this overall size just hurt his value? We don't really see these kind of quarterbacks. I mean, I think he could build on his size. He could get bigger. He could get put on pounds. He could do that. So he could then eventually get to 200 pounds at some point in his NFL career. Maybe he doesn't, but he could. He could get there.
Didn't he weigh 204 at the combine?
I thought it
was it?
Yeah, he went up to 204 at the combine. They were saying that's why he wasn't running.
Did he 204?
I think so.
Well, there you go. That's why he wasn't running.
I think
because he knew his 40 time was going to be
exactly
because he ate pizza for a week and got up to 204.
194 at the combine.
Oh, I thought it was 204.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it was under 200.
Yeah, it was under 200. But if he gets to 200, I mean, it's not, at that point, it's not that big of a deal. Again, it's just that the overall size and structure, frame of him is concerning. And that's why he's number 2 for me. He'd be number 1 if, like John said, if he was bigger and taller, but he's not. So if he's number 2, I think he's going to be a good quarterback. He's going to be a Carolina Panther, it seems like. So we'll have to wait and see. But he should be in a good situation, hopefully, to produce and have a long career. They just got to make sure they find ways to protect him in the general sense. So any NFL team, whoever gets him.
On that note, in specifically the Carolina Panthers case, if he does go number 1 overall to the Carolina Panthers, he will be in a great situation because their offensive line is awesome. So he won't feel a lot of pressure. He won't feel a lot of people bearing down on him. The problem is then he's throwing to, who's he throwing to? So it's kind of stinks. It's a catch-22. I think he'll be fine if he lands in Carolina. The problem is they traded away DJ Moore to get him, so he doesn't have anyone to throw to.
We'll talk about that next Monday, John.
Next Monday. Sorry,
my bad. Get ahead of ourselves. We'll talk about that next Monday.
Getting ahead of myself. My bad.
But
anyway.
I mean, that's going to wrap up our